Good morning, everyone. Jim Fitzpatrick, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Matt Easton, sales coach and founder of Easton University, says ditch the pitch. The typical sales process is broken. Today, Matt is going to show you a better way to sell by slowing the process down and discovering the value you bring your customer before you ever pitch anything. Matt, thank you so much for joining us once again on the show.
Jim, thank you so much for having me. And yes, we're going to ditch the pitch. And to be honest, sales is pretty screwed up, Jim, if we really think about this logically. I'm going to ask you a question. I'm going to give you two options. You got to work in sales, which you did. I do. We both do. You run companies.
Sure.
Would you rather have your life be this, Jim? Hey, you yell at people, you talk really fast, you say a lot, and you tell them how awesome you are, and then you try and get them to buy. That's option number one. Option number two, you naturally have a way to get people's attention. You have easy conversations where the other person does most of the talking, and suddenly they start to tell you how awesome you are and how much they need you, your solution, your product, or your service. And then you simply sell it to them. Which one would you rather live in? That first world of push, 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 bitch,
I'm going with option. I'm going with door number two for sure.
Door number two, and it's beautiful on the other side, guys. Come on over to door number two. Here's the problem. And I don't want to poke fun at, I don't want to name names, I don't want to say anything about the sales coach you have now or the sales coach that you had back in 1982, but they've got it all wrong. The typical sales process is completely backwards. I'm going to, maybe you guys can throw the graphic up there, but I'm going to show you, like, let's say we sold fire extinguishers. Now, it doesn't matter if it's a fire extinguisher, a car, a piece of software, photography for a wedding. I don't care what it is. Jim, fire extinguishers is a metaphor, okay? Here's the typical sales process. Hey, if I could have 5 minutes of your time, I'd like to talk to you about our amazing, awesome fire extinguishers. They put out 99% of all fires, man. This is going to help save your company, save your business, save you time. Do you want to buy a fire extinguisher? That's how sales go, right? Let me tell you about the new Tahoe. Let me tell you about my photography services.
Right.
We're going to get your wedding shot in 4K or 40K, right? They haven't even invented it yet, but we've got it. Do you want to sign up with me? That's that typical type of sales process,
right.
Jim. It's freaking garbage, my brother. Here's what we need to do. We need to be able to slow down in the beginning, right? And say things like, you know, Jim, there is something that every business owner is having to deal with and nobody's talking about it. I wanted to make sure that you were aware of it. Or, hey, Jim, you know, there is somebody that's kind of on the fence between going with a new vehicle or purchasing a used vehicle. And I wanted to make sure you were aware of it. Or there's something that everybody that's trying to plan their wedding is having to deal with right now, and I wanted to make sure you were aware of it. Right? Get that other person to lean in, get them to listen, deliver some insights that are valuable to them. Those insights may be things like, you know what a lot of people don't realize when they think, I'll just wait another 3 years with my current vehicle, is the cost of replacing that transmission now is north of $25,000. How are you positioning yourself to deal with that? Or a lot of people don't understand with a photography person that most of those people that they're working with aren't recording audio and aren't actually putting the stuff together for social media where their friends and family are going to watch it. How are you dealing with that, right? We're going to slow down and talk to them about things that are insights that are valuable to them. We're not just going to pitch our product. Then what we're going to do is monetize, like in the fire extinguisher example. How are you dealing with that? What's that costing you? What fires do you have right now? Have you had any that you haven't been able to put out? And I'm using the word fires metaphorically, right?
Sure.
And then you're able to say that other person is talking to you, Jim, and here's where life gets really fun and really easy, and this is why people love Easton University. Then you're able to say, Jim, based on everything that you told me about the fact that, you know, your wife has a ton of people that follow her but aren't able to attend the wedding, I'd like to recommend our social media package. What this is going to do is during your honeymoon, when you guys don't want to be bothered, our team is going to be putting stories up from the wedding so everybody can enjoy it, connect with you, connect with your wife, and really feel like they were part of the experience, even though they weren't able to attend there in Atlanta. Does it make sense for us to include that social media package, right? We're slowing down. We're getting them to tell us the value. We're able to say, hey, you know, based on everything you're telling me with, you know, wanting to not necessarily buy a new vehicle, but the reason why you wanted to avoid buying a new vehicle was the cost and the fact that, and they're a great vehicle, by the way, the fact that you're driving a 2018 Tahoe and with the mileage that it has right now, you're really close to some significant timing belt replacements and possibly a full transmission service. Does it make sense for us to get you in the 2024 model so you can avoid that large outlay of cash, at least for the next 6 to 10 years? When we're calm, when we're cool, when we're collected, and we stop pitching and we start listening, deals close naturally. And that's what we all want, Jim. It's natural. We want things natural, not forced.
That's right. And it's also easy, way easier for that sales associate than it is to be the hardcore pitch that we all have been brought up with, right? At the end of the day, salespeople don't typically like that. They've got to do it, or at least they think they have to do it, until, of course, there's options like this out there, right?
They think they have to do it. That's a great way of putting it, Jim. Not only do they think they have to do it, but they're doing something that doesn't feel good in their soul.
Right.
And they're doing something that they wouldn't want somebody to do to them.
Yeah.
And that makes no sense. This sales process of slowing down, delivering an insight, having a conversation, asking the person how they're dealing with that, monetizing the deal, both in terms of money, time, energy, effort, stress for that prospect. And then being able to say things like, based on what you told me or based on what you said, I'd like to recommend this, is natural, and that's how we want to be sold to. The other hidden benefit here, Jim, with that pitch, with that traditional sales process, complete garbage, with the traditional sales process, with the sales coaches that tell you to yell at people and just, tell them they're not a real man if they don't buy right now. It's garbage. And you have nothing to follow up on.
That's right.
If I tell you, Jim, if you don't do it right now, come on, your wife knows you're looking at wedding photographers right now. You got to do this. How are you going to follow up with me if you say no?
That's right.
But if I go through this pitch, I can say, hey, Jim, it's Matt Easton over here at Easton Photography. Just calling to see if it makes sense for us to add the social media package so we can make sure that everybody that's not able to fly to Atlanta is able to experience the wedding, especially, your wife's grandmother who's unfortunately unable to travel. I'm on my mobile, 720-660-3202. It's a skillful follow-up. It's helpful.
Yeah.
You're helping people improve their lives versus pitching them and trying to pound your product, solution, or service down their throat. Nobody wants that.
That's right. It's much more, you're acting much more as a consultant and a subject matter expert on this particular item that they're thinking about, rather than just that sales guy or sales girl is only in it for the money. The way that you're putting this is much more friendly to both the consumer as well as I said earlier, that sales associate that says, wow, I can really be an expert in this field and help the person to acquire this product rather than trying to force it down their throat or sell it to them so that I can run away and make a commission, right?
1,000%, and your job becomes a lot more fun because you're having real conversations versus forced pitches.
And I would suggest that your referrals will also increase, because how many times have we been in a situation where we leave a selling situation where we bought something because we felt pressured to do that, and we
never telling anybody.
Well, not only do we not tell anybody, but we might tell somebody, don't go over there because, man, they're going to be high pressure. You might buy something you don't want to buy, versus telling. And we've all had those salespeople that are more of a consultant to say, oh, you're going to love this guy or this woman because they're so professional. They really want to help you get the right product to provide the solution that you're looking for. You got to talk to Susie, or you got to talk to Bob, or whatever the case might be. They're really very professional. And and that's really what you're talking about here, is a much more professional approach to sales.
Yes, and if you guys want to flash this up on the screen, I won't mind. This is ESP, the Easton Sales Process. This is the more graphical playbook version of what we just discussed. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I'm showing you this, Jim, is you just hit the nail on the head. Not only do our sales go up, not only do our referrals go up, but something magical happens when you follow ESP. Even the customers that don't buy from you tell people to buy from you. I'm going to say that again because it's
I
crazy.
can see that. Yep.
Yeah, but even the customers that maybe aren't in a place to buy from you when you slow that process down and didn't pitch them and didn't force them, they evangelize you almost even more than the people that did, because they aspire. You become an aspirational person to work with. Man, you need to talk to Jim. This guy is the sharpest. This guy is the best. He's not going to push you around. He is great. He really understood our situation with my fiance's grandmother. And please call Jim and tell him Matt Easton said hello, right? When you follow this process, easier to get sales, easier to get testimonials, and you build an army of little evangelists out there running around telling people to come your way. It's just better.
That's right. That's right. There's no question about it. And this is the type of sales training for leaders out there, sales leaders out there, managers and owners of businesses. This is the kind of training that is going to be much more receptive to somebody that's getting into sales for the first time, or has been in sales, to say, wow, this is a fresh approach. This is something that I can take ownership of, rather than feeling, as we said earlier, to go out there and pound the customer until they say, okay, I'll buy. Let's get the deal done, which doesn't really help anybody. The other thing that it does that we didn't talk about is it also maintains the value in the product that you're selling. So it increases maybe the gross profit, or I should say maintains the gross profit, so that the sale doesn't become sterile, where the customer just goes, okay, now it's all about the deal. What kind of a discount are you going to give me? What are you going to throw in? What else can I get from you? Because you left being a consultant and you've stayed on that, I'm going to be your sales guy. I'm going to be that person that just focuses on selling you the product and then throwing in this item, that item, discounting the price. And this approach that you're pointing out today, Matt, is definitely something that's going to maintain that price integrity, right? And that sales price integrity.
Yes. And Jim, this is why I love my conversations with you, because you get it. You probably, like me, lay in bed at night thinking about this kind of stuff. Here's what we need to remember. And if you guys forget everything else you just learned, many times your job is important. Hi, you're valuable. And many times you need to save your customers, your prospects, from themselves.
That's right.
And the scenario that Jim and I just talked about, wedding photographer or vehicle, where grandma's not going to be able to see the photos or the transmission might break. If you think that they know that, you are mistaken.
Right.
It is your job as a consultant to have skillful conversations with them that are helpful and make them aware of situations they weren't aware of before. When we just pitch and don't think about how can I educate this person, of course, all we're going to do is have price to negotiate on. And that's why we hear things like, well, the place down the street is 20% less, right? And that's not good. It's not fun.
That's right. There's no question about it. Matt Easton, sales coach, founder of Easton University. We're going to show all the information on the screen here as to how to get a hold of Matt Easton. This is the kind of sales trainer that you're looking for. Matt's worked with hundreds, if not, well, I should say thousands of students and companies nationwide. So Matt, we love when you come in. This is great. We get so many great positive comments whenever we show your interviews. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Jim, it's an honor. It's a pleasure. I love being here. Hope I can be back soon.
Absolutely. Thank you.